Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In our last video we had a look at FPP on a Raspberry Pi and how we can connect physical buttons to it to allow us to start playlists and other activities. Now it's pointed out in the comments that if you have a Baldrick board you can do similar. So it seemed like a good opportunity to have a look and see why we might use that solution instead. Now the Baldrick board is a very convenient, inexpensive and easy to use 8-port controller that runs on E131 or DDP and needs to be driven by either X lights using X schedule or FPP or something similar. And that's great. It also of course has its own built-in effects which might be useful for some simple use cases. Now if you're using a Baldrick to run your selfie station as part of your show, it is possible of course to use the 3 inputs on the Baldrick to make events happen, not only on Baldrick but on the whole show. So let's have a look and see how we set that up. On the top right corner here, we've got 3 input connections. So there's 3 buttons underneath, but we've also got 3 small Phoenix connectors where we can add buttons. Now conveniently, I've set up 3 sequences in my FPP instance, one labelled red, one labelled green and one labelled blue. And by the powers of television or YouTube, I've got some arcade buttons here and I also have red, green and blue. So let's hook up these red, green and blue buttons to inputs 1, 2 and 3 on Baldrick and see if we can make the sequences run on my LED strip here. Now I've got some cables pre-prepared, so I'm going to hook these up directly to the switches on the back of these buttons. Now these buttons were kindly supplied by Build a Light Show and they're ideal for this sort of thing. They're a bit more robust than the little button I used on the FPP video, and they're going to cope better with small children bashing them to pieces. Switches here are push to make. That means they join the input and the output when the button is depressed, and that's perfect for our needs on Baldrick here. So that's connected up the 3 buttons, the 3 switches on the end of the buttons. So let's now connect these onto Baldrick. So I'm going to start with red, and I'm going to hook red up onto button number 1. Quick twist of the wires because I've made these a bit long. Now I've not soldered these or anything, I've just stripped them and got them ready to go, so we'll just give them a twist. Now it doesn't matter which way round these cables go into this Phoenix connector, because all the button is simply going to do is join the 2 together, so they are not, it doesn't matter which way round you do it, there's no polarity to them. Here we go. Now the wire gauge, that whilst I'm doing this, doesn't have to be very thick at all. I'm just using some pixel extension cable which I had to hand. I peeled off the 3rd core, so I've just got 2 cores into the 2 sides of the switches. There we go, there's the 3rd one going in. There we go, so I've got my 3 Phoenix connectors all wired up now. All it remains to do is to connect them to the board and then we'll configure. So this first one is coming from the red switch, so I'm going to put that onto number 1. Then we got the second one is on green, so we'll do that onto number 2. And then the third one is on blue. So RGB, there you go, nice and easy to remember. Red, green and blue for 1, 2, 3. And there we have our buttons ready to go. I'm not connecting the top 2, they're just there for show. So there's 3 wired up. Let's have a look and see how we set that up on Baldrick. So I'm going to scroll down on the Baldrick page here and down to buttons. And as we can see, at the moment the buttons are not configured. So I'm going to go down to reconfigure. Button 1 is our red button, and what to do with button 1 when it's pressed momentarily. I want to call an FPP API. We've got 2 copies of FPP running on the network at the moment. I'm going to be using the second one here, and 98. What do we want it to do? Well, I want it to start a playlist. Now we can use start playlist for either a full playlist, or we can use it to start a sequence. So I'm going to go for start playlist, and there are my 3 FSEQs in there and a demo playlist. So I'm going to get it to start the red playlist, and I don't want it to repeat, so I'm not going to check the checkbox, and I don't want it to run if something else is already happening. So I'm going to I'm going to check if not running. And then the button is going to lock out for X period of time. My sequence is 30 seconds and I don't want anybody to interrupt it, so I'm going to tell it to lock out for 30 seconds. There we go, there's all of the entries, so I'm going to save that. I'm going to do the same now for button 2, which is button 2, there we go. Control FPP, I want it on this instance of FPP. I want it to start a playlist. There it is, next, and I want it to run green, and if not running. Thank you, and again lock out for 30 seconds. Save. And then last but not least, we have our third button, which I'm going to run into button 3, press momentarily, call FPP. On the second one, lovely, I want it to start a playlist. There she is. Next, our playlist is going to be RGB for blue, and if not running. Next, lock out for 30 seconds, next, and save. And there we go. We have now got buttons 1, 2 and 3 all configured. FPP is up and ready to go, so if I go back to FPP and status control and status, that is sat there ready to go. All that I need to do now is to plug in my pixels. Now I've got my bit of trim here, so I'm just going to use that because it's nice and tidy. So we'll just unplug. Oh, we'll unplug that and plug these in. Now these will go blue when I plug them in. This is a feature of these LED pucks. There they go. So they've gone blue, and that just means that they've got no data to them at the moment, and they will turn off after a short period. But it's time now to test the buttons. So red, green and blue buttons. Let's mix it up a bit. I'm going to press the green button first, and we should have a green bars sequence running when I do so. There we go. We've got a green bars sequence running on our trim here. FPP is playing the green sequence. So that's all worked nicely. Our button has interfaced with Baldrick. Baldrick is connected to FPP over the network, and FPP is now playing the sequence, which is coming back to Baldrick, again over the network, and out to our pucks here. If we go for blue, there we go, we've got the blue sequences running. And if I try and press another button, that's interesting. Did I tell FPP to lock out? Look at that. I have set FPP to lock out. Right, so we found a bug for you, Dom. Your timeouts for 30 seconds or so don't work properly. The buttons are working fine. I can play a playlist, but the lockouts are not working to time. So there you go. Add that one to your Trello board for something to fix. Apart from that, it was really straightforward. I've just hooked up my momentary switches onto the button inputs on Baldrick. I've obviously previously configured the outputs on Baldrick so it can run as part of a show. And if we can do that, I can demonstrate that with my demo sequence. There we go. That's the same sequence, but doing one after the other. So we've configured the buttons on Baldrick. Obviously their outputs were configured previously and X-Lights pushed as regular. When I pushed the button, it triggered Baldrick. Baldrick triggered FPP. FPP played the sequence. So that's it. That's this week all done and dusted. So I've got the video all buttoned up. It's completed, edited, ready to go. When Robot Dom messages me and says, "Have you finished my Baldrick button video yet? Because I'd like you to put this picture in at the end." So what is it? It looks like a Baldrick board. It's obviously got something to do with buttons. Any more detail? We'll have to wait and see. But there's something new and it's coming this way. I hope you found that one useful as always. Please do like, share, subscribe. So have fun, take care. See you on the next one.